Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 My Team Career Mode with me, Dan, and the Radiant Racing team as we come to another fan favourite on the calendar is of course Monza for round 10 of the championship. This does mean actually that this will mark the final Tuesday that we will race on F1 2021, as this time next week, hopefully in my sleep deprived state, I will be uploading the first video on the channel of F1 22, and hopefully it will be the buggy mess that they usually are at release. What am I talking about? Of course it won't be. It's Codemasters. The game will work absolutely perfectly. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on when that video is uploaded. It's sure to be one hell of a disaster. Anyway, let's get on to the starting grid now. And it's a front row lockout for the two Red Bulls here. Sergio Perez once again taking pole position over teammate Max Verstappen, followed by our teammate of Sean Galeo lining up on the second row alongside Pierre Gasly. Then we have ourselves in P5. It's a disappointing qualifying. We're alongside Daniel Ricciardo, followed by two world champions, Fernando Alonso and then Lewis Hamilton. And rounding out the top 10, we have Esteban Ocon and Lando Norris. Moving on down the order, we have Yuki Tsunoda, who lines up alongside Lance Stroll in an uncharacteristic 12th place, followed by the first of the Ferraris, the disappointing qualifying in P13. He's alongside Jack Aitken. Then we have the other Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. He's alongside Valtteri Bottas, who took several penalties, followed by George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Latifi, of course, having a good qualifying for a change. Then we have the two Alfa Romeos of Mick Schumacher and Antonio Giovinazzi, which means it's Christian Lundgaard and Nikita Mazepin at the back. Well, we know our top speed is good here, although qualifying was not the best, and we couldn't really get much more out of the car than P5. As we get underway now, and it's not a great start for us. Yuki Tsunoda having an absolutely fantastic start there. Sean Galeo all over the back of the Red Bulls as we come down towards turn 1. And into the corner we go. It looks as though Sean Galeo is challenging the Red Bulls. There's a bit of contact going on there. And nothing quite happening. Oh, we've got a safety car out there for the parked cars in the background. Not the best of starts to them. Let's see the start for our perspective. Held on the start, like just reacted a little bit too late there compared to everyone else around us, although Ricciardo was not the fastest, so we weren't really under much threat. Coming down to the braking, so brake nice and early there, and still nearly run it into the back of an AlphaTauri. Actually taking some contact there by the looks of things. Our teammate looking a little bit hustled as well. We'll see his perspective now. Let's go on board with him, Sean Galeo. He actually gets a very good start. If he'd been on the front row there with Verstappen, he would have been well away. But Perez and Verstappen both slot in alongside. And, well, there's a bit of squeezing going on. He uses the curb just to rotate the car. Smacks the end plate against the rear wheel of the Red Bull. And that's when we get the safety car out, which stops him from going any further. This was the perspective of Mr. Valtteri Bottas back in P16. Coming down towards turn 1, and he smashes straight into the back of one of the Aston Martins, collides into Yuki Tsunoda, who had a really good start, who also hits Lewis Hamilton. As we watch on board with Nicholas Latifi, I feel like I know where this is going. Yes, Nicholas Latifi has punted the Mercedes into oblivion. As we rejoin on the third lap, about to go onto the fourth lap. Sergio Perez into the pits, Yuki Tsunoda into the pits. We've lost Valtteri Bottas, of course. And just scanning through the order, I think it's Sebastian Vettel. Oh, no, it's not Sebastian Vettel. He's retired. It's someone else at the very back. Undisclosed. They are. As we come down towards turn 1, we get a good run on Pierre Gasly now. But he has managed to come across in front of us, spooking us and caused us to lock up the front tyres there. Looking in the background, everyone has managed to get through. And actually, now I look back, it is Nicholas Latifi who's running in dead last at the moment. As we see Esteban Ocon plummeting down the order. He's either got damage or he's just been spun at turn 1 on the restart. As for us, we're nearly a second down already on the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. And now under attack from the honey badger himself, Daniel Ricciardo. as we come down towards the DRS straight and into Ascari. Sean Gelael actually doing quite a good job at keeping Pierre Gasly behind him. Unfortunately, Max Verstappen now 1.1 seconds up the road, now 1.3 seconds. Unfortunately, our teammate, although very useful at times, is not the fastest in the world. As I saw in the distance a yellow flag for the marshal there. I think it's just a camera thing, because every time we come to this circuit on this channel, someone's waving a yellow flag when there isn't really a yellow flag. Anyway, down the front straight we come. Gasly challenges Gelael. We got a bit of tussling going on in the background between Norris and Hamilton. We make the corner absolutely fine. Gelael still battling with Gasly as they come down towards turn 3 and 4. Gelael pulls across in front of the AlphaTauri driver, and somehow, looking down the order, is Christian Lundgaard still in 10th place. Unbelievable. As we rejoin a battle here with Daniel Ricciardo trying to go around the outside of us into not the Parabolica. Round we go. Sean Gelael still holding his own against the AlphaTauri, but it's given Max Verstappen an absolutely comfortable cushion of a lead up ahead. Daniel Ricciardo now into the slipstream, and he's going to be looking around the inside into turn 1. Gasly go around the outside of Gelael, as we take a very clean line through there, and unfortunately get the squeeze on Daniel Ricciardo, and he's managed to slip through. Thankfully, though, the McLaren is pretty crap in this playthrough, so we've gone round the outside now of the Papaya car and made short work of him. I say that with a massive lock-up there going into the chicane. We have indeed got the position. Quite a big train here, going all the way back to Lance Stroll in 9th place, and that will not be very helpful whatsoever. We do actually have a penalty from earlier on in the race, which should have popped up on screen. I think it was for the collision with Pierre Gasly at the very first corner in turn 1. Certainly there to add some spice to the mix, but talking to Pierre Gasly, he tried to go for a move on Gelael. Gelael cut him off and held him up, and now he's allowed us to come up right alongside the AlphaTauri. We're going to go round the outside into not the Parabolica, which is not the best of lines through there, and we're going to have to sit tight and try and get the DRS in. We've got a couple of cars. Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo come in, trying to get the undercut. Hamilton trying to get past Norris again. Still failing as we go around the outside of our teammate and Pierre Gasly, but we go so late on the brakes, we've locked up, have to take the speed bump escape road, get in the way of Lewis Hamilton, who still couldn't get past the McLaren of Lando Norris. Mercedes nowhere in this season so far, even though they're third in the championship. You've got to wonder how. We look around the outside of Norris, it's not going to happen this time. Coming up towards the 2 Lesmos we go. Just 2 attempts back from the McLaren. Somehow Pierre Gasly not able to get past Sean Gelael, still on lap 7. He's got another opportunity coming up now with the DRS straight. Although, so far, it's not proved to be very useful to him at all. He is having a look, though. I'm trying to keep an eye on that, and also trying to keep an eye on our stuff as well. Gasly's ahead. That is Pierre Gasly ahead of Sean Gelael now, as we come down the back straight towards the not the Parabolica. There they are. Pierre Gasly, 7 seconds behind the leader, but in second nevertheless. Who's coming into the pit lane? It's actually Gasly and Norris. In fact, pretty much everyone who was behind us, apart from Lance Stroll. As we stay out with our teammate, there are Mick Schumacher and Christian Lundgaard coming through into the top 10 after their very successful runs after the safety car, avoiding all of the parked cars on circuit, as we rejoin on lap 8. Now, having a look at our teammate into not the Parabolica, round we go. One of us is going to come into the pits by now. We're nearly at the end of the race. It is Sean Gelael. Max Verstappen also still out on track somewhere. No, he is in the pits. So now we venture off on our own on lap 9. So we'll be coming round just a few laps on the medium tyre to try and make the most of our race. We get the call in. And all eyes will now turn. Sergio Perez, 12 seconds behind us. Of course, that is going to be much less than 12 seconds now, as he's going to be bearing down. You can hear the car. He goes through. There goes Verstappen. Yuki Tsunoda through. We're serving our penalty as well. And to add insult to injury, we've got that wing change. It's going to drop us way out of the top 10 at this rate. You can hear all the cars screaming past. Jack Aitken will not overtake us, though, because he's in the pits as well. And you see that now, we're coming out in front of Mick Schumacher battling for P12. There's George Russell trying to go around the outside of him into turn 1. We have a massive lock-up there as Mick Schumacher just blindly swings across in front of us with no regard for safety of others. And Christian Lundgaard looks on. He has noted that and will report it to the stewards later on if he cares, as we go up the inside of George Russell into turn 3 or 4, depending on how you look at that other corner, Curva Grande, into the two Lesmos. Schumacher still quite a way ahead of us. Unfortunately, we're on lap 10 now, and looking down the road, Sean Gelael is 3 seconds off of the back of Lance Stroll, and Mick Schumacher, as we slip past him into Ascari, is, well, as we are now 6.5 seconds behind our teammate. You can see how far away they are. There is absolutely no way with the pace that we showed all weekend that we are ever going to get back to the front runners at this rate. I mean, look at the spacing there. We've got Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez battling for the win, and then you've got Yuki Tsunoda several seconds behind them. And in fact, at this point, it wasn't even worth looking at what we're doing. We're just going to go on board with Sean Gelael for the final lap, because we're nowhere in this race. We've just come through Ascari now. He's going to look up the inside of Stroll into the not Parabolica. Does not make the move. And DRS will be open down this pit straight. He will, of course, be looking to see if he can get through a few of these cars as they all battle away. One of them might get some damage. The AI are not exactly the most careful of drivers. And looking down, I can see the wheels on Gelael's car are white, which means for some reason they've put the hard tyre on for 4 laps. Unbelievable stuff. I don't know if that was just because he's run out of new tyres or because someone on our strategy board is a moron, but he's got the tyres nonetheless. He is the fastest car on the circuit, given the fact that we can't actually do jack shit at this circuit for some reason. But it's not going to help him, because whoever's at the front of this, it's Nicholas Latifi's at the front of this train. Just notice that as we come around the final corner, Max Verstappen is going to cross the line ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez. Unbelievable. There's Yuki Tsunoda in the background going to finish off the podium. Unbelievable. We cut back to us, seeing our that was actually Lance Stroll disappear around the corner. We've managed to pull 3 seconds on George Russell, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to finish outside of the points for one of the first times in the career mode, as we have a massive accident across the line. That is the end of a disastrous race, as we go on board with Nicholas Latifi, the man who finished 5th. There we are celebrating in the background. This is on this lap of celebration, and he spins the car because he just cannot resist. Nicholas Latifi could not resist spinning his car on the in-lap. He somehow picks up driver of the day, presumably for doing a 360 in front of the crowd. And Christian Horner is absolutely loving it. He's picked up a Red Bull 1-2, and he's seen a Williams score points for, the first time in the co-op career mode. In the My Team career mode. Co-op career mode, of course, we did actually race a Williams and score plenty of points. Either way, in the My Team career mode, neither of the bottom 3 teams, Williams, Alfa Romeo or Haas, have scored points at all. Even with regulation changes, they have not been able to develop their car enough to push themselves up the order, and that was their first points score. of course it would come to Nicholas Latifi, the worst driver on the Formula 1 grid. Anyway, it's time to stop celebrating with the champagne with Verstappen and Perez and get on with the race results. And here are the race results. Of course, you can see Max Verstappen, as well as winning the race, also picked up the fastest lap by quite a large margin there. Yuki Tsunoda joins the two Red Bulls on the podium, followed by Pierre Gasly in the other AlphaTauri there. And then we have the surprise of the day, Nicholas Latifi picks up P5. Then we have Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, Daniel Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton and Sean Gelael picks up the final point of the day. Over in the Drivers' Championship, this does mean that Max Verstappen has closed the gap to just 4 points now. 43 points behind us, though, is his teammate of Sergio Perez, who extends his lead over 4th place, Sean Gelael. Then it's a big leap back to Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas in 5th and 6th. Then we have Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz rounding out the top 10. Tied for 10th place, actually, Lando Norris on 36 points. Then we have Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc, Nicholas Latifi moves up to 14th. Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, Jack Aitken as the final point scorer. And then we have George Russell, Antonio Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Christian Lundgaard and Nikita Mazepin. And finally, over in the Constructors' Championship, as is not a surprise, Red Bull retake the lead over our Radiant Racing team now by 25 points. We're followed by Mercedes. Then the battle for 4th is currently ongoing between McLaren, AlphaTauri, and Ferrari have been left behind quite significantly in 6th. Then we have Alpine, Williams, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo and Haas. That's all for today. We'll catch you in the next one.